Testing, testing. We're literally walking into this episode, and the mic wasn't even on. Right on. Yeah, welcome back to another episode of a podcast. Your host Stephen Max at episode 144. Swipe, scan, save, smart spending hacks. Welcome to the episode. I felt the need to throw this one out here. I think the general vibe right now is certainly around taking the dollar to the next level kind of thing, and I don't think it has to be um debilitating for lifestyles and stuff like that as far as that goes. There's always points programs. I come by this quite honestly. My mom was a big coupon saver points person, and I got some facts up on here. A couple of these are ones. Well, actually, I guess the ones I'm going to talk about today are actually points programs that I personally use and have taken advantage of. So I have some lived experience. And actually, it's what got me thinking about this. And the grocery store the other day, I often am going to a couple locations close to my place here, Sobeys and Costco for some stuff. On top of that, I do shop at a lot of like local places, like butcher, like meat places. I guess I'll say there's also a couple favorite bakeries that I go to. I still collect points there, depending on the card that I'm using. But um, for everyday, I guess kind of like grocery shopping, though, Sobeys is super close to my place here. That's where I'll mention the Scene card, I guess, as well as kind of like their partnership with Scotiabank. Um, just kind of like how that points program does work, as well as the Canadian Tire credit card and the Triangle Rewards. Huge savings on there, as well as a couple other like life hacks, I'll say in general, um, that I take advantage of. And I think other people should consider doing this too if you're feeling that kind of pinch or whatever. This is, like I said, spurred off of some other like combos lately, with people just, I guess, like chatting with me about cost of stuff and everything. So I felt this is like good information to have ultimately out there. So yeah, points, coupons, whatever it is. There's a ton out there too. Like we're not going to cover any and all possibilities out there. The one thing I will say about like the Scene side of things here, I wasn't even going to go in this order, but here we are. Scenes points card. This is you can just get a Scenes like points card, and that's the case with a lot of these too. Is like you can get the points card on its own, or you can get the points card plus with a credit card associated with the bank. Therefore, you're getting like double or slightly more points every time that you're doing it when you do that together. Um, so Scene, you do have to like scan your actual Scene card. Plus, if you're using credit card from Scotiabank, then lovely, then you're doubling down on points, and they're all over the place. But lately, when I've been going, and I mean the way that I use my cards and such, in that sense with the Scene and with Scotiabank, is a lot of them are everyday purchases that are just like add up to more points. But um, I had not been like when I go grocery shopping there. It's rare that I'm paying even close to what is on there because of these points. Like they're pretty extreme. Like sometimes it's like, do you want to renew or like pull off of your points? Like out of $100 purchase, or every time we go to the grocery store right now, it seems like it's $150. But um, it's like, do you want to redeem $90? And I'm like, sure. And it's like my once a week shop there has now turned into $40 on the same card, just from cumulatively like using points. Sometimes obviously it does sway my vote of spending when I'm in the store and I'm grabbing this gentleman here behind me, a pineapple or whatever it is, and they say 150 extra Scene points. I don't even know the conversion. I should look that up on here. To me, it's like, okay, whatever it is. Obviously they're doing the math on the computers for me there. I'm not really bothered to like figure that one out, but a lot of the time it's saving me a ton on groceries when I'm going to Sobeys, purchasing from there. And typical benefits on this one here too is that I've listed off with my whole research squad on here on AI. Earning points in everyday purchases, groceries, gas, dining, Scene plus your account. Like I said, you can also redeem these on like travel, flights, hotel packages, everyday experiences like dining, entertainment. And I guess Scene is also attached to the movies. So if you go to movies, I know there's lots of points that are accumulated there. Higher points rates, groceries and dining, blah, blah, blah. You can get bigger, badder credit cards and stuff like that. Often includes extra perks like travel insurance and higher tier cards. Yeah, that is true. I have read that on my cards. Flexible travel and lifestyle rewards. That is exactly what's going on here. So all in all, I would say that this has kind of like been personally a top tier card for me. There are yeah, I don't know. This one just seems like an everyday good card to have, whether it just be for the points or if you do bank with Scotiabank, I guess in this case. That is not financial advice. This is just a comment about a points card. Seems to be like a really good deal there. I would check that out. That seems to be like a great way to save money on groceries and some stuff coming up here. I mean, of course, you can always rock the sales and everything, as one does, um, shopping lately. So the next one on here is the Canadian Tire credit card with Triangle Rewards. So again, there's like a Triangle Rewards card, and then there's like you can just have that all on its own. You don't need to go sign up for the card. But the Canadian Tire credit card, if you're purchasing stuff at Canadian Tire, and I've actually used this huge advantage for starting a prior rental company because I was able to like triple down on some points stuff that was going on here. They often have these promos through the Canadian Tire credit card where for every purchase over, let's say it's like $200, you get $30 back in Canadian Tire money in their currency. And this can be applied at Canadian Tire, Sport Chek, Marks, Petro Canada, and they say and more. I know that they just had a partnership, something creeped out with Tim Hortons, I think. So I don't know how many coffees you got to buy in that case, but I know it's really easy to spend larger sums of money at Canadian Tire and Sport Chek, and even Petro in terms of their like combined points card or system that they have there too. So, but I know I've taken advantage of the Canadian Tire purchases for sure. They have a lot of household goods there. There's tons of opportunity to like cash in on these points things if you follow their flyers or have the app or whatever. There's always stuff like that. And there's bonus points on certain promotions. Yeah, so that's what we're just covering here. The other thing that's really interesting about this card that I think is overlooked a little bit, and I'm not saying that you do this from the side of like stretch your life out kind of thing, but this is a really important thing that the Canadian Tire card does have. And as of this moment, last time I got in there, they had asked if you wanted to do this, and it was any purchase over $150, you had or have the ability as of like right now to, in case that changes in the future, I don't want to be wrong on that one, but you can get all like the classic Canadian Tire money. Used to be paper rebates, but you can actually take any purchase over $150 and amortize it over 2 years at 0% interest. That can be incredibly risky for those who don't stay on top of paying off their credit cards and stuff like that. But when I was doing my little rental thing there for a minute and buying a bunch of kayaks, we cashed in on points. We were able to amortize our kayaks over 2 year periods for a lot of them, not all of them, but some of them. And we were very diligent, or I was very diligent on, paying that off every month. And so it definitely allows you to stretch your dollar way further because you cannot get 0% financing at any bank for any kind of thing. That being said, I don't know what all would really be necessary in an everyday life situation to be doing that at a Canadian Tire location, but it is possible. So if you're going for like points, redeeming stuff, and trying to stretch that dollar an extra mile, this is a really creative way to do it. They have a lot of household goods in here. I mean, it's not just, I guess in this case, I went grocery shopping for the background here, but Canadian Tire does have a lot of appliances, plates, like kitchen stuff is where my head was going there. Utensils, appliances, coffee makers, coffee, cleaning supplies, home essentials. Like there's a lot of stuff in there that could be put on that program if you had to. That being said, I'd say kind of more encouragement probably for the smarter side of that would be shop the deals, pay off the credit every month. But they had that program in there, which is just like a pretty elite way to manage cash flow. And if you are getting points and doing different things, this would be like the only time where I'd be like, hey, this actually is kind of a sick deal. Even as far as actually, like I went to Sport Chek and I didn't need to necessarily do this, but I was like, hey, like I know that they have this thing on there. I had a bunch of Canadian Tire money and I bought this Garmin. I was frustrated with my Apple Watch. If you've watched the previous episode, you've heard me complain about the battery life on Apple watches, but the Garmin is sick on that side of things. And I adjusted and got used to this one. But this watch was like, I don't know, $1,000, something 800, something like that. I think it was on sale. So there's a little bit of a discount on that. But I was like, hey, can I put this on that payment thing? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. So that was the last time. I was just in the fall here, or I guess like midsummer, because I've been wearing this for a few races come in season and stuff there. I kind of forgot that was on that program, and I paid it off the following month. But in theory, I could have stretched this watch payment out for like 2 years at 0% interest. So it's just something that's like neat option as far as like a card goes, where you're not like, if it is a big item purchase, and I know a lot of like parents out there go to Sport Check or Canadian Tire for like hockey equipment, and that is a very expensive sport to be in for kids. So stuff like that, where you could certainly like take this and run with it as a life hack, well, whatever it may be, from this episode here. But yeah, partner promotions. The Canadian Tire one's not used for travel. Great for household purchases and fuel, I guess. I'd say this other part of their card with that 0% or like the Canadian Tire dollar points back thing, keep an eye out for that. That is always a solid go-to. Something else that is, I guess, kind of like the third thing in here, because we talked like Sobeys, Scene, and Scotiabank, and then Canadian Tire at their locations, as well as Petros, and using their 0% interest thing that they had existed. Like I said, look into it. Make sure it even makes sense for you. There's a few other hacks, though, that I think are important to share if people have not considered this. And one of them would be Costco has these gift cards they often are like 20% off, roughly. And I forget what this math ends up being, but I was in there recently and they had like the Air Canada and WestJet gift cards. You buy $500 worth of gift cards for $450 for both Air Canada and WestJet. So if you're doing any trips coming up or whatever, you have a great option to go there and save, what is that, 10%? I think it's 10. I feel like that is 10%. I could be wrong on this. 10% on some travel stuff. So on top of using your other maybe cards, such as like a WestJet Rewards one or even a Scene one here with some travel points and stuff like that, you can take advantage of going and purchasing these gift cards directly from Costco. Use them, apply them, save the 10% on the total value of the dollar that you spent on that gift card. Then also go and double down and use points on the rest of your purchase if you have those points on your card like that. But just some easy little tip things in here. But those would be my 3 things that came to mind after chatting about some folks here about Christmas time, things being expensive. Groceries specifically, that's why I went into like, I guess, the Scene part first here, but Canadian Tire credit card and just taking advantage of some of these like point systems. I know Shoppers also has some really great programs. They have food there as well as, everything else, household kind of stuff that we use every day. It'd be shampoo, soap, other stuff. There's some really great points programs there, but didn't dive into too much of that today. Scene, Canadian Tire, use some Costco for hack stuff. And I cut my finger. Sorry, that was gross. Just before this episode. And but those ones can be really great. I'm excited to hear from other folks about like what other points cards that they use and maybe how they take advantage of them. So don't be shy outside the episode. Please let me know what you guys are using. And I'm excited to see what we get for some feedback on these tips, trips, and tricks and other stuff. So thanks so much for listening. Episode 144, Swipe, Scan, Save, Smart Spending Hacks. Cheers.